At 3:17 in the morning, a signal arrived. Every satellite, every telescope, and every deep space sensor on Earth detected it at the exact same moment. It wasn't hidden, it wasn't encrypted, it was broadcast loud and clear across every known frequency. The message was simple: Planet Earth, prepare for compliance. Within minutes, global defense networks lit up with pure panic. Radar screens, usually empty, suddenly filled with so many red markers that they bled together into a solid mass. An unbelievable sight, far beyond anything humanity had ever witnessed. 10,000 massive warships had appeared at the edge of our solar system, a silent metallic storm ready to break. Humanity was no longer alone. The universe had come knocking. The fleet moved with a terrifying, unified precision. Each ship was a behemoth, larger than Earth's greatest cities. Their glowing armor and shimmering energy shields reflected the cold, distant light of the stars. It was immediately clear this wasn't an exploration mission. This was an invasion force. At the very heart of this armada was the command vessel of the Cre Dominion. From its bridge, Supreme Commander Thaxial observed Earth, displayed as a massive holographic projection. To his ancient eyes, the planet looked fragile, hopelessly divided, and technologically pathetic. He anticipated what always came next: fear, chaos, and a swift surrender. It was the same story on every world he had ever visited. Thaxial was ancient by human standards, a warrior hardened by countless victories. He had conquered dozens of worlds and personally ordered the erasure of entire civilizations. In his experience, every species fought the same predictable way, with primitive weapons and raw desperation, and every single species lost. Brimming with confidence, he issued his second message to the unsuspecting blue marble below. Earth's government authorities, you have one planetary rotation to surrender. The message echoed across the globe, a cold, metallic voice of doom. Deactivate all military assets and prepare for occupation. Resistance will result in extinction. Across the planet, emergency protocols activated instantly. Cities went dark as power grids were rerouted. Civilians, in a state of controlled chaos, rushed into underground shelters. News channels abandoned their regular broadcasts, their screens showing only stark emergency alerts and the frantic speculation of experts who had no real answers. Fear spread through the population faster than any alien fleet could travel. For a moment, it felt like the world was holding its breath, waiting for the inevitable destruction. But deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a command room that officially did not exist, the atmosphere was entirely different. Calm, focused voices filled the air. This was the United Defense Command, Earth's secret, final line of survival. And at its center stood Admiral Chen. She didn't shout, she didn't panic. She simply stood before the tactical display, studying the approaching alien fleet with a quiet, unnerving confidence. This was the moment she and her teams had been preparing for decades. Through a secure quantum channel, Admiral Chen addressed the world's leaders who were gathered in their own bunkers, watching the same terrifying display. They believe we will fight like everyone else, she said, her voice a steady anchor in the storm of fear. They expect a battle of ships and lasers. That is their first, and final, mistake. While the alien fleet advanced, something else was already happening, something silent, invisible, and utterly engaging. As the first CRE ships crossed into Earth's defensive perimeter, microscopic nanite-sized devices silently activated. They were completely undetectable, already attached to the hulls of the alien warships, having been seeded into the outer solar system years ago. Humanity had learned a hard lesson long ago. We could never outgun the universe. There would always be a bigger ship, a more powerful weapon. So, we changed the rules of the game. Instead of building bigger cannons, our greatest minds turned inward, to the very fabric of reality itself. They delved into the bizarre and wonderful world of quantum mechanics, exploring concepts like entanglement, probability collapse, and non-local interaction. From these revolutionary ideas, they created machines smaller than a speck of dust: quantum entanglement mines. These weren't mines in the traditional sense. They had no power signature, no detectable mass. They drifted through the vacuum of space like harmless particles, but each mine was quantumly paired with another. One half of the pair latching onto a CRE ship, the other half securely linked back on Earth. They didn't explode, they simply waited. Back on the CRE command ship, Supreme Commander Thaxial was growing impatient. Earth hadn't surrendered. No defensive fleets had launched to meet them. No superweapons had been fired in a desperate last stand. There was just silence. Confused and slightly irritated, he ordered his crew to conduct another deep scan, searching for any hidden defenses, any traps they might have missed. The results came back the same: nothing. The planet appeared to be completely defenseless. Then, at exactly 4 o'clock UTC, Admiral Chen gave a single, quiet command from her underground bunker. Activate Phase 1. No alarms sounded on Earth. No mushroom clouds bloomed in space. But across the entire alien fleet, reality itself began to unravel. On thousands of bridges, power systems began to fluctuate without any cause. Energy shields, designed to withstand asteroid impacts and direct weapons fire, flickered, weakened, and then collapsed entirely. Weapon controls froze, refusing to respond. CRE engineers rushed to their stations, their faces a mixture of disbelief and horror, as systems designed to be unbreakable began failing one by one. Thaxial roared for answers, but his officers had none to give. There were no enemy ships on their sensors, no incoming projectiles, no energy signatures of any kind. They were being dismantled by a ghost. Then, the entanglement mines fully activated. They didn't fire a projectile. They collapsed the quantum state of their paired particle back on Earth. Through the bizarre magic of entanglement, this collapse was mirrored instantly across light-years of space, triggering a cascade of failures in the ship's core systems. The effect was surgical and devastating. Entire warships, kilometers long, went dark and drifted powerless through space. Lights went out. Artificial gravity failed, sending crews tumbling in zero-G chaos. Within minutes, a staggering 70% of the invading fleet was completely disabled, turned into nothing more than giant, floating tombs. And not a single human weapon had been fired. The Cre Dominion, a galactic empire built on conquest, had never experienced a defeat like this. Their entire military doctrine relied on creating fear through overwhelming force. But what good is overwhelming force when you can't even turn the lights on? In the face of this invisible, incomprehensible attack, the Cre's greatest weapon, fear, simply vanished. Admiral Chen then opened a direct communication channel to the Cre flagship. Her calm, composed face appeared on Thaxial's main view screen. She wore no armor. She showed no fear. She looked like a scholar, not a warrior. "You have entered our system without permission, Commander," she stated, her tone, level and matter-of-fact, stunned and furious. Thaxial accused humanity of cowardice, of launching a dishonorable sneak attack on his fleet. Chen's expression didn't change. "No, Commander," she corrected him calmly. "We defended ourselves. You brought an army to our home. You threatened us with extinction. We simply declined your offer." She went on to explain, in simple terms, that their technology was now fundamentally incompatible with the laws of physics in this region of space. Any attempt to restore power would only accelerate the decay, making the damage irreversible. Then, she dictated Earth's terms. Unconditional surrender. All weapon systems were to be jettisoned immediately. The entire fleet would submit to an escort out of the solar system, where their warships would be systematically dismantled. Silence filled the alien command bridge. The crew looked at their supreme commander, their faces etched with a humiliation they had never known, defeated without a fight, outsmarted by a species they had dismissed as primitive. Finally, Thaxial gave the order. He complied. Across the silent darkness of space, ports opened on the massive warships, and weapons were ejected like cosmic trash, drifting away from their useless hulls. On Earth, humanity watched the live feeds, not with triumphant cheers, but with a quiet, sober awe. There were no celebrations, no parades. A profound threshold had been crossed. We were no longer prey, but we had no desire to become conquerors either. As the crippled fleet was escorted away by a token force of human ships, Admiral Chen addressed the world. "Strength is not measured by the size of your weapons or the power of your engines," she said, her voice carrying a message of a new era. "We didn't win today because we were stronger. We won because we were smarter." And somewhere, out among the stars, a new warning began to spread from the humiliated remnants of the Cre Dominion. A message passed from one starfaring civilization to another. "Do not underestimate the humans on Earth," it said. "They are not what they seem. They will find 10,000 ways to win without ever firing a single shot." The signal from tomorrow had been received, and the future of warfare had been changed forever. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more content like this. We'll see you in the next one.